why in the hell would they give the worst character in the film the saddest and best death send off? What's going on, guys? Welcome to 31 Days of Horror. I am Morgan Film Fan. Let's jump into some scares. Where the scary things are. I was going to say where the wild things are because it sounds the same. Is a film I discovered this year and just came out this year, I'm pretty sure. I think it was a limited release and I think it just hit a few festival circuits. But I saw it on some horror groups and it sounded interesting, so I definitely kept this one in mind for 31 Days of Horror because it sounded extremely interesting. But for some reason, I just noticed that it wasn't getting much buzz. IMDb gives it like a 3.1, which was surprising. Basically, it's just one of those like bunch of kids having an adventure kind of movies, Stranger Things, Stand By Me, It, that kind of style. And it sounded cool, so I decided to check it out, but it's only out on DVD. Got a strangely low score, but it sounded fun, and I'm telling you, I had a blast with this film. I loved it. Albeit, that doesn't mean that it doesn't have its issues, because it's absolutely loaded with them. Plot holes galore. The acting and the writing obviously could have been better, could have been tweaked and all that. But anyways, these kids are basically, they call themselves the Dockers. They make YouTube videos, go figure, it's 2022. And they just hang out in this closed down theme park. It's called, it's not a theme park, it's like a haunts kind of thing. It's called Field of Screams. And it only opens up for the Halloween season. So they hang out there. Of course, they're always chased down by the security guard, and they get in trouble with the security guard at the beginning of the movie, but they still hang out there. They use it as their hangout. It looks like a cool set. I mean, the budget is, well, it was a $3 million movie, so I wouldn't say this film is like tiny budget, but it's still not a huge budget film. But anyways, they document a bunch of stuff. There's one kid named Bran who likes to do bum fights, where he gets like two people fighting, dressing as bums and stuff like that. Of course, eventually he tries to get real homeless people to do it, and there's one scene in particular that's absolutely horrible where he lights one homeless man's hat on fire. It's terrible. But these kids get a project for school and class by their teacher named Mr. Lewis, who is one of my favorite characters in the film. He's awesome. And their project is basically to make up an urban legend, because the teacher's talking about how urban legends are created by usually stupid things, and then they blow up, especially this day and age with the internet. Like the whole Momo stuff, and the old urban legend of like razors and candy, and he explains like that happened one time in the 70s by a dad to his son who was crazy, and then it blew up into this thing where like everybody puts razors and candy. So he wants his students to create an urban legend. So these kids discover this monster who looks or reminds me to a T of the Tar Man from Return of the Living Dead. As soon as this monster shows up on screen, I'm like, Return of the Living Dead, clearly. But they use this opportunity to create this urban legend, because this urban legend is supposed to be fake, but there's this real monster, and they tie him up and chain him up. And they basically film it and show the teacher, and the teacher's like, that looks really real, but he's getting complaints from the parents because it's too violent and there's actual like, well, the kids say it's fake gun shooting, but it's not. They're actually using a real gun on this tar man. And yeah, it just basically goes from there. So Ayla is this really seductive hot girl who she's like she's like an evil version of the girl from It. I'm blanking on her name right now. If that girl was a complete cunt, then that's Ayla, pretty much. She just seduces all the boys to get what she wants. She knows that most of them like her. When she posts the video of the tar man when they're like interrogating it and stuff like that, they post it on the film's version of YouTube, and she starts getting comments like fake, and then obviously she starts freaking out and everything. One thing I loved about this film the most, I think, is its score. I think the music choices for the scenes themselves were picked out really well. And it just has this great atmosphere. If you like the films that I mentioned, like It and Stranger Things and stuff like that, you'll get a kick out of this because this film is fun, even with its flaws. Like, there's cheesy scenes, there's extremely cheesy dialogue, but everything looks aesthetically neat, and Mr. Lewis, like I said, is a really cool character, and it's too bad that because they end up luring him to the monster and showing him the monster because he doesn't believe them, and they want to prove to the teacher that the monster is real, but the monster ends up getting the teacher, and then it's a really like not uneventful but unfortunate death for the teacher because he was so awesome. And then with Ayla, you have this character named Snack as a nickname, who's in love with her. And even though he was sketchy about this chick, because this chick lured this other girl named Jenny to the monster to basically feed her to her because she hated Jenny so much. And she, like, killed her stepdad at one point. And she's just, like I said, she just seduces everybody to get what she wants, and she's so transparent. That's the thing. Like, maybe it's my age, but like everything she does and says is so blatantly obvious, and like to get her way. I mean, like her manipulation and her conniveness behavior is just so apparent. It's just she's so blatantly a bitch. And yeah, so there's a scene where she's in this room in this field of screams, and she's all like dramatic, and then there's flashbacks of her and her friends and stuff like that, and you're supposed to feel sorry for her. And other than the fact that she's young and hot, there's not much to feel sorry for because she's awful to everybody around her. So, and it's explained at the beginning of the movie because at the beginning of the movie, each character is shown getting a ride home from their parents because they got in trouble at the theme park for being caught by the security guard. So you get introduced by each character by getting a ride home from their parents, which is a neat way to introduce everybody one by one. And Ayla's mom is obviously not the best person in the world, so you can see where she gets it from. But still, this girl is pretty much evil, and she's given like the most dramatic death. And I was like, geez, what the fuck? But otherwise, it's a cool movie that I had a lot of fun with. It has some rewatch value. It's one of those films that you put on to just chill and not think about so much, and just enjoy the atmosphere, enjoy the music, and just enjoy the characters for how goofy and charming they are. All of them have unique personalities, and they're all interesting, to say the least. And it's a lot of fun. I recommend Where the Scary Things Are. It's not the best movie in the world, but it's certainly not. It's undeserving of a 3.1. Some other review sites gave it a 1.5. 1.5. This is not a 1.5 film. This is 2.5 for me. For me, I think. But I'm a generous guy, like I said. If film entertains me, I like it. That's all a film needs to do. I'm a broken record when it comes to that. If a film entertains me, it's good enough for me. Subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice or if you like my film reviews. I'll be back with more when I can, so stay tuned. Check out what's on the channel. And until next review, take care and cheers.